I said like wow. Sounds good. I got feel it's gonna stop early. I don't know why it was so early last time. And I'm so tired. Yeah, all I need is good vibe. Right inside. All my niggas lying and the president be lying. I got job in this bar when I'm fly. With the jazz all in the sky. I do not own the right to this music. All my niggas lying and the president be lying. I got job in this bar when I'm fly. Cool levels of my similar, just a losing of it. I see a lot of beats, I see a lot of Rolexes. I'ma buy both of these niggas right after the film. I can show you the style, I can show you a rap. After all this shit that happened, so we gotta be. Welcome to the DMV Vibe Podcast. I am XP and I am Phyllis Swagger. So today we are going to be discussing healing from those past traumas and as we close out Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We really wanted to be transparent on the show and give other people a chance to have other options or other ways to heal, as well as I have resources that I wrote with me today to share with everyone. Um, if you don't follow my page, the DMV Live podcast, I did a post about 2 weeks ago. Um, I finally told my story to the world. I felt like it was my last piece of healing. I really felt like it was important for me to do, especially using this platform. I thought it was really important. So, um, whew, okay.
Then the show will be kind of heavy today, so get your tissues ready, okay?
So, for many of my friends know, back in June, my brother was killed, and while I was trying to cope with the loss of my brother, I had someone who I thought was a friend. They claimed that they were coming to check on me, and their checking on me was not a check on me at all. They
assaulted me in a vehicle and tried to make me do some things, of course, that I was not with. Um, I won't discuss on how that issue was resolved. I don't feel like it's radio worthy, but it definitely took me to probably a darker mental space than I was already in. Um, my brother was more like my father, so that loss really hit me differently, along with the trauma. I was also, so not only was I working full time and barely able to function for work, then I also had to deal with, I was in school at the time. It was my first time taking classes in like 10 years. So it was already a struggle. Um, but the school did offer, like my professor, shout out to Professor Dasher, she made sure that she checked on me at least, I want to say like every other day. She was calling and check on me, as well as Speedy Community College had therapy sessions. At first, I thought, man, I don't want to do no therapy. But it became too much for me to handle. And everybody who knows me from back in the day, I really had a drinking problem. Like I was a real live alcoholic. And so I knew what my triggers was, and I really had to address it before it got out of hand. Um, it took a lot for me to be okay to even tell anybody. I think in the beginning, I only told like two. A lot of people was like trying to like, just pray about it, just pray. You cannot pray everything away.
Amen.
I'm gonna say that you cannot pray everything away. Um, music was one of those things that was therapy for me. It was pretty much any kind of music, but every time I felt myself going into a dark moment, I definitely did turn on gospel. I don't know, it's something about whatever anointing is on Tasha Cobb's limit, whatever anointing is on her, you can feel it in every song. And that definitely helped my mental, but I'm still in the space where it's hard for me to trust people, regardless of how long I know. So before I get too deep with any other, because I do have another story, but I'm not ready to tell that story yet.
Understandable.
So I know that we talked and you felt comfortable sharing your story.
Yes. So I want to share my sexual assault story. A lot of people don't know. Uh, at the time that it happened, only my parents knew and maybe a couple friends at the time. Um, for a long time, I was not comfortable with opening up and telling my story. But in the latter years, I've been able to open up to some people and talk to them about my story. Um, so people that are tuning in are probably going to be really surprised. But this happened back in 2013. At the time, I probably could be able to tell you the date and all that, but I was one of those people that when it happened, it was one of those things that I really just like blocked it out of my mind. So I really can't give you everything. But it was very traumatizing because in the moment, it was somebody that I knew, that I trusted, that I had been around. And in the moment, I told that person, like, that's not what I wanted to do. Like, I wasn't here for that. And it ended up happening. Um, and in the midst of it, like, I tried to fight back. He bit my face. So I had a huge, like, bite mark on the side of my face. Like, it looked like somebody, like, you could see the teeth and all that on the side of my face. Um, I was like sore and stuff, and I did end up going to the police. Um, I'm not a fan of Prince George's County Sexual Assault Unit. Y'all can kiss my ass, and I really mean that wholeheartedly. Um, but it was hard because of all the things that I had to go through. Like I really had to go through getting shots. I had to get shot. I had to take a morning after pill. I had to get tested and do all this other stuff. And it just was like really humiliating because it's just like, why is this happening to me? And for me, um, it was hard because it was something that is like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to talk about this. We're going to keep this in the family, whatever, whatever. And I ended up having panic attacks. Um, I was scared to be in a house by myself. I was scared to go places. I felt so like dirty. I would walk around with my head hanging down. I would just lay in a bed and like I never felt like I just wanted to die or anything. I never felt suicidal, but it just was like I just gave my life. Like I didn't care um about anything. And like I remember my mom came to me and she was like, this is not the end of the world. Like you can't just stop your life. And I just remember um they offered so Prince George's County offered group therapy and all that. And I was like, no, like I didn't want to go sit with a whole bunch of females and tell my story because I wasn't ready. Like it literally had just happened. And you asked me 24 hours later to go sit and talk with all these people.
I think people who have never been through it don't understand that one, it is not something that you want to talk about immediately.
Right.
When it immediately happens, you really just want to forget it happened.
Right. Like I literally would just be laying in the bed and like I would be crying. Like I would just bust out crying and stuff because I just couldn't understand. And like I literally lay and I was like, oh, why did this happen to me? Like, what why? Like I felt like I didn't deserve it. And um when I would tell like one of my friends, I told her like everything that happened and like she still was like, well, you was your fault. And I was like, how was it my fault? Like I was being pinned down, trying to fight, trying to get this person off of me, and I couldn't. Like, and the messed up part about it is this man has daughters. He has daughters. Like he has two daughters, and his daughters are teenagers now. So in my head, I'm like, you don't want nobody doing this to your daughter, but you just did this to somebody else's daughter.
That was my exact thought. Because this person has two young daughters, under the age of 10. And one, I was in such a state of shock that the person would even act like that. And it, it's probably bad to say this, but I'd rather somebody I don't know try and attack me than somebody that I've known for this person I knew for years. So not only was I like in a state of shock, for real, and the fact that I had a boyfriend while when that happened, and my boyfriend made me feel like shit did not help it.
And I think that's the culture. When we talk about rape culture, we have to get away from always blaming the female. It's not no. Like I didn't ask for that man to bite me on the side of my fucking face. Like went to work. I had to go to work with that mark on my face. You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't just lay in bed and not go to work. Like I still had to work. So we gotta stop that blaming on the female because in the middle of that, like me trying to fight, I gave up because it was like, what am I fighting for? I couldn't get him off of me. He damn near was choking me. So I was like, what am I supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? And so when you go to your friends and they're like, oh well, that's what he came over there for, but that's not because I clearly stated like that's not what I wanted because that wasn't what I wanted. We was friends, so why would you even, you know what I'm saying? If I'm telling you like this is not what I want, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is when I hear guys say stuff like, oh well, the girl was walking a certain way, or she wore this, or it's like, what does that have to do
That does
with
not
doing
mean anything.
Right.
Are you gonna do that to a motherfucking stripper in the strip club?
Right.
Because that's their job.
Right, that's their job, but that don't mean that you're just supposed to forcibly force yourself onto them. And we have to get out of this whole boys will be boys and all that type of. That's why rape is the number one most unreported crime in the country, because it's always the victim's fault. Like you place blame on the woman, and it's like, no, where's the accountability for men? And we see this all the time with these college scandals and all this other stuff, and how they'll cover it up for the guys, and you make the woman feel like it was all her fault.
SVU. So I know it's a lot of people, I mean, a lot of viewers that watch Law and Order SVU. I have watched this show over and over, thinking that I used to have a mindset of that can never happen to me. 'Cause I'm a fighter. I done fought a lot of people, but when you're in that moment, your mind goes 8 million different places. And I started fighting, but I felt like the more that I was fighting,
The more aggressive that person got.
And I had marks. I had it my hair in such a way that I could cover it up.
I had to walk around with it was like, it looked like a bruise. Like I had to walk around with that on my face.
It takes, even if you go to therapy, your mindset still has to be open to really discussing them raw feelings. Like I went through a lot of emotions, from anger to sadness to I was never suicidal, but I did have a moment where I relapsed, and I said I was drinking every day. I would drink from probably like 4 p.m. to like 4 a.m. Like I didn't have to work, and even though I'm teleworking, I'm tired, so now I'm sleeping half of my work day and trying to make everything up in the last part of my work. And it got to a point where my mom wasn't even in the state when it happened. She was out of town. So a part of me didn't want to be at home, but I didn't want to be at my sister's house because that was the area that it happened at. So it was like nothing felt comfortable. Um, the first 2 sessions of therapy, I guess because it was still fresh, I thought, man, this shit's not working. Fucking therapy is not working. But then she started giving me tools to use. Like when she started talking about other topics, like things that you like to do, I felt that it didn't distract me, but if I found a way to incorporate the things that like I like to write poetry. And so it was like, well, if you can express your emotions in a poem and then read it to at least one person that you trust. I tried that. That didn't fucking work. I was like, oh, I thought it was gonna be good. I was like, no, it didn't fucking work because when it came time for me to say it, I was too emotional. So then in therapy, she was like, well, why don't you just, she was like, well, how do you feel right now? Okay, like I'm tired of shit. So I'm like, I'm okay. But I realized like you cannot hold those emotions in because it doesn't help the healing process. So I could be fine on Tuesday and then cry all day Thursday.
But that's how it was. Like you, in one moment you feel like you're okay, and then like the next moment something would happen, or you would see something, or like this particular person actually is well known in the Mandela area. I don't know if he's still a over there now. I truly don't give a shit. But like I would see people that I thought was him So it would like startle me, and then I would get scared, and then I'd be like, okay, nah, like I can't do this, like I can't walk over there, or I can't, no, gotta go, because like it's like you see, it takes you back, like it will bring something back, like it's just certain stuff, like don't do that because I don't like that because it takes me back, to that place, and um,
And it really makes it hard, like
right,
especially when you're ready to start dating
yes,
and it's a whole new person that you really don't know nothing about. Little things will make you jump. Or like, no, you gotta stay right here. Stay right
like
here.
I know for me because it happened like so long ago, it took me a while to like be comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Or to even like have some type of intimacy with someone because it's just like, don't touch me or don't, whatever the case may be. And I think because I had suppressed it for so long, like it really didn't, I guess, come back up for me again until like probably the end of 2017. And it's like that culminated with other stuff, like almost broke me. And I had to like really, get myself together. And like I remember I texted one of my friends and I was like, I am just somebody who is broken and who has been heartbroken, who's been sexually assaulted and just trying to love somebody with all my broken pieces. And that like in that moment I was like, yo, like I really gotta get myself together. Like, cause I can't like I feel like emotionally I was fucked up because of all of that on top of, everything else. And I didn't and I guess for me, because I suppressed it for so long, like literally I can tell y'all the year, but I can't tell you the month no more. I can't tell you the exact date. Like I could still give you like bits and pieces of what happened, but it's just a lot of stuff like during that time period. I just suppressed it. So it just was like, and then of course, if y'all know how the brain works, certain things we tend to forget, but then something will happen to trigger it. And I think just in all of that, like what I was going through at that time, it really brought it back. And I was like, this is something that I really have to get over and get myself together. But I will say for me, my prayer life definitely played a major role. Just like you said, gospel music. Tamala Mann be having me want to fall out on the floor. Um, so yeah, so definitely that my spirituality really helped me. And then I had to isolate myself from some people at the time because it's just like I just need to take the time to get myself together.
I literally was only around like 4 people. And my brother was there the same day that it happened. And, um, he already knew that I was real fucked up in the head. Because in January of 2017, I had a friend who I had known since ninth grade. How long? From ninth grade until 4 years ago, when I was 20. Um, it was cool. Every day I hung out with them all the time. Um, had already had a conversation that, hey, I'm not fucking with you on that level, nothing. I guess maybe they didn't believe me. Like,
I just don't. Maybe they don't. Because
I
them
don't know.
conversations, but they
I
must
know-
don't believe us.
I
when we
know
say
I can
these
be
things.
lit, but I mean everything that I say, especially when I'm lit. So when I say no, it definitely means no. But yeah, so in 2017, that person tried to rape me, and I did not know how to recover from that because I was already in a fucked up headspace. I had lost everything. I lost my apartment, my car, my job, and then to have that happen, like I just felt like I ended up being a fly on the wall. I didn't talk to nobody. I lived in a house full of people. It was like 8 of us. house full of people. I never said nothing to nobody. They asked me a question, you might get one word response. I wasn't eating for real. Um, the only thing that shook me out of that depression was the fact that my mom almost died and got rushed to the hospital for surgery. And having to take care of someone else and not have to,
Think about it.
yeah, it kept my mind occupied. But then when I moved away and all I had was that reflection time, I saw myself start spiraling again. Um, and it really made me go to church more. I know sometimes a lot of people are against going to
Going to
church,
church.
and
Mhm.
if you find the right church for you, because I would say I don't like every church that I've been to, but in certain places that just feel like a perfect fit. It doesn't feel like a chore coming here. You don't feel judged when you go. Um, that was what I found in Texas. And I did all my healing from so many different things there. It was stuff that was bothering me. I didn't even know that it really bothered me still. But my dad was here a couple weeks ago, so I've been open about talking about that. I had a feeling of abandonment, and it always showed up in relationships. And once you have that feeling, how it shows up is you have a lot of insecurities or you doubt a lot of things. Um, I didn't correlate it to my dad for a while. I was like, I don't know, like I don't care if somebody stay or come. Like I go as I please, so it shouldn't matter about a relationship. But when you don't, I guess, when you address certain things, even if you address the person who didn't, you really have to come with an open mind of they're not going to tell you what you want to hear. Um, I've confronted the person who attacked me, and the response that I got just made me want to whip their ass.
Of course.
And I didn't even know what the fuck that was at, but in my mind, I confirmed it. But it's like I had to understand that one, it was nothing that I did wrong.
I think that's the biggest thing for all victims of sexual assault. It's like we have to really understand like that wasn't our fault. Like we did nothing wrong. But again, like I said, society makes it hard for women who have been victims of sexual assault because they tell us it's our fault. Like to really sit there and like you supposed to be my friend, you telling me it's my fault. Like what?
When my ex said, well, it's your fault because you shouldn't have got in the car with them at such and such a time.
But that's the
First of
mentality
all,
that men have when a woman is telling them about being sexually assaulted.
I'm like, first of all, we both smoke. So if that person didn't know my sister, so I'm not inviting them into my sister's house. They said they were coming to check on me because that same day was my brother's candlelight vigil. So I'm taking it as they're being sincere.
And then he tried to get you in a vulnerable position. So that's even worse because you played on my vulnerability at the time. You know what I'm saying? Well, you the whole time you had these intentions. Like you played and you lied. So it's like, come on, bro.
Shout out to the cousin that don't talk to me no more, but he definitely did his part after that scenario because he said, just pack some clothes up and that's for a week. We about to go on a road trip. Where we going? He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, we can go to the beach and you can bring your work laptop, do whatever you got to do. I definitely went to the beach and stayed for like 4 days. And if you know me, I do not like the sand, but the sound of waves is super, super calming. And so every night I would just sit on the balcony just listen to the waves. Because I had so much anxiety that I don't think I slept longer than an hour, like the first 2 weeks. Like, and the person didn't even know where I lived at, no nothing. But it was just like we live in a society where anybody can fight. And it's shit on the internet that really blows me.
Oh, thanks for that.
Um, but the one thing I will say, because I am still a big advocate for therapy, you just need to find the right therapist for you and be open to um, their different methods
And
and
be
tools.
honest with your therapist,
Yes.
because I think a lot of people who do go to therapy, they're not honest with their therapist. So your therapy is to help you. It's to help you overcome whatever it is that you need to overcome. But they can't help you if you're not completely honest with them. So if you're going in with an open mind, you have to go in being open-minded and being honest at the same time. Okay. And I like therapy because it's an unbiased opinion. These people don't know me from a can of paint. So and when I went to my therapist, I really enjoyed talking to her because it's like she don't know me. So she's not trying to help me based on what she thinks I would do because of what I've done before or how I reacted to a situation before. Like she's really going off of she writing her little notes and then they do give you homework. So when your therapist gives you homework, do the homework,
Yes.
do what you need to do. Okay. You're supposed to do. And it helps you. Like she had me create a gratitude journal. And I had to every day write 10 things that I was grateful for, 5 people that made me smile, and 2 things that I could have did differently that day. And like when I look back in it, I laugh because I see it's literally the same people that make me laugh every day. So that would be who was in it, but it was therapeutic in a way because it taught me to be grateful for who I had and what I had at the time. So when your therapist gives you homework, do your homework. So
So I would have to say that step one in healing for me was forgiving myself. That was step one. Step two was going and getting therapy and really being honest about everything. I think a lot of people times, like you said, when people tell a story, they'll tell it from one point of view instead of giving the whole story. That is super important in counseling because I feel like they can really assess the situation differently and they give a lot of tools. Now, I had a similar um, example that she gave me was hers was I needed to anything that might have disturbed my peace in the day, write it down and write how I reacted to it and if I could have reacted differently. And that helped in a lot of different areas because I used to be a person who something could piss me off at 8:30 in the morning and I'd still be mad at fucking 1 p.m. And I was like, that's probably not healthy. That's that toxic relationship shit. Yeah, don't piss me off that early in the morning. I'm not even a morning person. But also it was this book that she had me read, and I'm saying I ain't never make it through the whole book, but it was a lot of different things in here. The book is called Getting Past Your Past by Susan Wilkinson. Um, the subtitle is Finding Freedom from the Pain of Regret. And it definitely made me do a lot of reflection on certain things because some things we allow unconsciously, whether it be friends, family, partner, and when we don't speak up or voice how we feel, I think sometimes we take into consideration of how other people may react to how we feel. And that's something that I have to learn to stop doing because motherfuckers don't care
at all.
at all. And they gonna do what the fuck they want to do and have no regards to how it makes you feel. So what's how you feel? So can nobody say, well, you let me do such and you didn't say nothing, so I just kept it. No. Speak up, please.
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm just learning, period, with a lot of friendships and relationships, being able to speak up. That's something that I actually started to do more with friendships, relationships, whatever, being able to speak up. So, if something is bothering me, I'm learning to be like, all right, in that moment, if it's bothering me in that moment, let me just say it. And I'm still working on that because sometimes I used to be the type of person who would be like scared because I guess I'll be scared like I don't want this person to be mad. But then it got to the point it was like, and I'm gonna tell y'all, working with ED kids really teaches you a lot. Really taught me like it's no point of being scared. These are my feelings. So, and I tell people all the time, one thing I will never do is apologize about my feelings. Now, I may apologize for my delivery because I know sometimes that my delivery can come off a little harsh or whatever, but I will never apologize for my feelings. And so now I'm just kind of getting to the point, and I think it's just me protecting my peace, where it's like, if this is bothering me, all right, listen, this is what's going on, whatever. But I'm also the type of person that if if me and you can have this conversation, we can talk through it, and it works, and that we can continue on with our friendship relationship, cool. But if you're still doing the same thing, curry on, whatever. But I really think being able to speak up for yourself is definitely a big part of learning to heal, and then definitely forgiving ourselves. I think what people fail to realize is we are very hard on ourselves, very, very hard on ourselves. And I've actually had this conversation with one of my friends, like, I'm my own worst critic. I'm very hard on myself. And he tells me all the time, like, you gotta don't have to be so hard on yourself. You know what I'm saying? We're human. So we all have feelings, we all have emotions. You know what I'm saying? Things happen to us that aren't our fault. Like we can't control everything. We can't control other people's actions. So forgiving yourself is definitely big, and it's definitely big with victims of sexual assault. It takes a long time for you to get in that mindset and really be like, you know what, I really did nothing wrong. Like, because it's almost like you sit there and you're like, well, why did I allow this to happen to me? But you have to realize, like, it wasn't your fault. And like you said, like, forgiving yourself, especially in this type of situation, is one of the hardest things that you'll have to do and come to terms with.
I'm going, why didn't I just want to, like,
Right. And then the thing about it is when people have conversations about sexual assault, like in the open, because a lot of people, don't know my story, I stay out of those conversations because the the thing that triggers me, and this is just personally, is like, well, I would have fought this, or I would have did that. And this is like, but no, you wouldn't, because that used to be me. I used to be like, oh, how you let a man do that? Or how you, no. Like, I don't care. And then even with me being a big girl, it's like, oh, well, you bigger than him. Okay, but he's still a man. He's still stronger than me. So what does my size have to do with anything? Like these are all the things that I would hear people say. And like I just like, you know what, I'm staying out this conversation because it sounds very ignorant to me and it's will trigger me. So I just be like, I just sit there and listen.
and with those people, like, this probably sounds fucked up, but I have wanted to have them in a scenario where they'll understand. I don't want anything to happen to them, but I would want them to see what it feels like, that emotion that you're having, in the way like it fucks you up so much mentally Yeah, it's like all your motor skills just kind of
Right, like you laying there like you trying to fight. Like for me, I was trying to fight, and eventually I literally just gave up. And it wasn't even that long. Like it probably was like 10 minutes, 5, 10 minutes. I don't even know. It was long as hell to me, but it's just like you trying to fight, but it's like you. The more literally, the more I fought, the more aggressive he got. So it's just like at this point, well, I might as well stop fighting because at this point I'm gonna be really beat up if I keep, you know what I'm saying, keep trying to fight. So you can't say, oh, this is what I would have done, would have whatever. Like it's hard.
because trust me, when you're a victim and you go through it, you already gonna replay it in your mind of
Over and
what
over.
you felt like you should have said different. So to have somebody else say that to you is almost like a smack in the face.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are very I don't want to say sensitive, but they're very non-sympathetic or empathetic.
It's no sympathy. They're not empathetic, but also like I've heard guys say, "Well, I tell my sister don't put herself in those situations like that," and all types of things. But a lot of it is there is still no accountability for
Towards the man.
men when it comes to rape and sexual
Because if
assault.
I shouldn't have put myself in that situation, they shouldn't have fucking caused the fucking situation.
Like you still have no rights to my body. If I tell your ass no, that's what I mean. You like no means no. Y'all always, no means no, but
Because as soon as if I would have snapped, that's just imagine if I would have snapped.
yeah, most of the time it is someone. Somebody says a lot of time it's someone you know. It is most of the time.
90% of the
Most
time.
women who have been sexually assaulted have been sexually assaulted by someone that we know and
And I'm not
trusted.
gonna say it's just women, because there's definitely
Yeah, there have been some men.
who've been sexually assaulted. I used to say that you need to speak up and tell somebody, but I'm very disappointed in how the system handles it.
PG
Um,
County.
I just feel like it's just the process. They really need to find a new process to go through it, and that's why this time I refuse to even call the police or get them involved. And I mean, Slim just better hope that I never see him on the street ever again. Um, but I always used to play this scenario over in my head. If I would have had my knife on me that day, it would have been a lot different. Not just because he would have had marks, but I know my ass would have been in jail. Because once you snap, it's like it ain't no coming back from once you snap.
Yeah.
I watch with probably way too much crime TV and the ID channel. Me and my favorite friends used to be in the house all day, every day watching this shit. And I realized that it's a lot of fucking crazy females in the world.
Yeah, deadly women for my man.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of crazy people in the world. But again, I have a lot of resources here. So if you want to get in contact with me, hit me on Instagram, Facebook. You have my phone number. I do have a lot of resources for counseling or domestic violence as well as sexual assault victims. Um, I forgot the name. There's a shelter in Annapolis. I will make sure I have that information as well because domestic violence is another big thing that women go through. And
I wear my purple. This is for domestic violence.
a lot of people don't understand how certain people can stay in relationships when they're being abused. We're going to take a break and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to play a clip from Red Table Talk. And they were talking about people with narcissist behavior.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to play two songs. The first song It's gonna be by Kendrick Lamar. This is one of the songs that I used to play every morning to change my mood. And then the second song that I'm gonna play after that is gonna be a song that my brother did a couple years ago. It's probably been like 8 years. My brother did a whole album, and he did this song called Street Lights, and he wrote it in like 10 minutes, produced it himself in probably about an hour. It was right after our great grandmother passed away, so I'll play this song for y'all. All my life I had to fight, nigga. All my life Nazareth, I'm fucked up, homie. You fucked up, but if God got us, then we alright. We alright. We alright. We alright. We alright. We alright. And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Muhammad said me, let the message run the face down. I'm at the face down. Let me tell you about my life. Painkillers for me put me in the twilight. I'm ready for seeing pictures, it's the highlight. I never, but I like, I know. 20 of them in my Chevy. So my God, come here, let me know preliminary here. So I reckon, motherfucking things, silence for the record. Well, I know it's too late. But because I think I'm gonna be inside my brain, stay starting with please. When you know, we've been down before. Nigga, when our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? Nigga, can we hate poor? Wanna kill us dead in the street for sure. Nigga, I'm at the preacher's door. My knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright. 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 We alright. Gon' be alright. What you want? You a house shit? Niggas in the mood, a piano, a guitar, anything. My name is Lucy. You can talk. Motherfucker, you can live at the mall. I guess I'm legal. I can tell it. I don't listen legal. I don't think about it. I don't pass it. Let me hear. My partner, put the candy, put it on the ring, take it in my pocket, in a profit, every day my life, the chicken, the touch, the chicken, the balance of the chicken. I don't talk about it, we don't got it, every day I see if I got it, then you know you got it. I got the cheese, that's all. I rap, I black on tracks, and rest assured, my rights, no wrongs, I'm right till I'm right for God. And you know, we've been hurt, been down before. Nigga, when our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? Nigga, and we hate poor, wanna kill us dead in the street for sure. Nigga, I'm at the preacher's door. My knees get weak, my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright. 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 Dark nights in my breath. I feel like a broken glass under you. Under the street light. Pouring out my soul under the street light. I feel there's no one understands light. Light up my I feel like a loser. Food in my mind, somewhere on cloud nine. Searching for a high, I'm just searching for a line. Pour out my feelings, more like filling the beat to a newfound recipe of healing. Tell me what I'm supposed to be. God working on my inside like I'm supposed to be. At times I don't want nobody close to me. Cause
And I miss it when it's gone, and I feel the closeness of it in spite of creativity caused by another disaster. Feel like, damn, gotta be kidding.
Oh, hey, friend. All the way from Texas.
I feel like a broken glass under you. Under the street light.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. That's the first time I really opened up my phone. But y'all will find out anyway in my books that I'm writing. If y'all can't really, I play the replay of my IGTV app.
I bring no cloud 10, like riding a fence. Mine is full of sin. Going to my deepest intent from within. You know, they're paying attention with the best.
Okay, I see the brother in the house too. Hey, coffee with the foe be having the fresh shoes on the IG.
20 fucking years, I've been shit fucking years. Broken at the fuck, trying to pass my prayers, but the water's much deeper than at the clear from outside in. All you see, me walking stone face, no expression as I be.
Yeah, we don't break on it.
Clear from the outside in, all you see is me walking stone face with no expression as I be.
You have been
Under the
I'm just trying to get my shoe game and be like, I be saying you put your little skinny leg.
okay. So I had told you this has been a real emotional week for me. So on top of trying to prepare for this show, and y'all see today we don't have like no kind of show, so we're definitely just going off the top of our head just because I didn't want the energy to feel forced on this topic. As well as so yesterday was the funeral of an old friend who died from stage 3 breast cancer. We went to the funeral yesterday, but Friday night I had decided to finally go through some stuff that had been in my archive for a couple of years. And I'm going through it, I find all these old pictures and things from old jobs. Like when I worked with kids, I had surgery on my leg. Well, I was going through therapy, and I had like minor surgery on my leg, and I was not at work for like a month. Kids say the craziest things,
Out of the mouths of babes.
and the fact that they thought that they were spelling some of these words right was just hilarious to me. But I feel like working with kids for me was a lot of therapy.
I love working with kids. Like that.
Like they change your mood. Like kids can piss you off, but at the same time, like they can bring you so much joy. That they won't even realize that they.
Yeah, they're South Patch kids, literally.
Because I was looking at some of those letters and like I had kids who so I worked with kindergarten up to 8th grade. And it was always my big kids who gave everybody else the problem. Like they was really soft. After reading those comments, they was really soft.
Okay. The little hard, yeah, I know I work with the at-risk ones. They just be wanting some love and attention. That's it. I literally used to, I still tell my kids, like, if you want a hug, just say that. Like, if you want me to talk to you, just say that. Like, you don't gotta be mean. If you want me to be your, if you need some attention, you know, when they start acting out with ways, I'm like, if you need some attention, just say that. I will come over there and give you some attention. Literally, that's what I tell my kids.
Yeah, working with kids is probably the best thing that I ever did.
They get on my nerves, but
I can't believe that I did it for that long because anybody who knew me like 15 years ago, like I was rough around the edges. Is probably why I'm always drawn to bad kids because I was one of them bad kids.
Hey, Jordan girl.
but it was definitely something that changed me in such a positive way. Um, Having people around me that can see how much I've changed and how far I've grown. Um, I ain't looking for validation, but it definitely feels nice to hear. 'Cause, ooh, I ain't never gonna be bold enough to write no book. So kudos to Miss Phyllis Swagger for working on her
Working on
book.
my book, y'all. It's a process. I'm working on it.
I know that a lot of things that I did is best left unwritten and unsaid.
Oh no, it's about my weight loss journey. It's not.
Oh, it's
It's
not
not. It's not my whole life story. I'm not trying to make no Lifetime movie, but with us talking about the sexual assault is my sexual assault is mentioned in my book because 2013 was the start of me actually trying to lose weight on my own. And so in the process of the assault happening, like I stopped working out, I stopped my entire life for a little bit. Well, I would say that part of my life because I still had to get up and go to work with a bruise on my face. But I do talk about that because that did play a role in my journey because it was a part of it. So that's why I said for those of you who don't know, you know, but there are some people on my live right now that have actually heard my story. But when I release my book, the whole world will know the story. So, but now y'all know the story.
Yeah. So going to the gym was another thing that helped release a lot of the negative emotions that I had or the negative energy that I had. It was a lot of times where I just wanted to fucking scream and I didn't know what the hell I was going to be screaming for, screaming at. And like, I still have days where I battle depression, but it's something that I've learned that with how to prepare when I'm going into that mode, like knowing that it's okay for me to just have a day where I'm just not feeling it. And it doesn't mean that necessarily anything is wrong. It's just sometimes you have them days where you just off and a lot of things just start running through your mind and really just take time to one try to figure out what triggered it. I think that's the biggest thing for me in my reflection time is I always try to see what triggered any type of anything that throw me off because I want to be able to be in such a peaceful place that I can react to it differently. Because I know I'm a person who, when I go through certain things, I shut off from the world, everything. It might not be no post on my page, as much as I try to be positive or funny. If I just go silent, I'm just having a moment.
But I think that's something that as humans, like we have to realize that. Like that's something that I really learned 2020 during the quarantine. Like you're gonna have your moments, you're gonna have your days. Like you're human. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. Allow yourself to be upset, angry. Like feel whatever you feel at that moment. But the point is to not stay there. That is literally something that I tell my students. I tell them all the time, like, I don't care, get mad, do whatever, but just don't stay there. Don't stay in that state of depression or stay in that state of anger. Because what we fail to realize is those negative emotions consume us. And when they start to consume us, then we start to, because y'all know energy is not created nor destroyed, it's simply transferred from one place to the next. So when you are around with all that type of energy, your energy, you can bring that energy to other people. You know what I'm saying? Like that transferring of emotions and energy,
Real.
it's real. Okay. I know y'all seen people play that game when they was talking about the transfer from one to the next. Like that's real. And I just taught that to my environmental science students. But It's real though. It's real. Like, don't I remember when we used to have the lock-ins at the church. I actually we actually talked about emotions. Our theme was my mind is playing tricks on me. And I actually did a class on depression. And I talked to a lot of the youth about it. And the thing about it is, because I feel like I've been in that state where it's just like I couldn't get out of it. And that was when I was talking about back in 2017, where I almost feel like everything almost broke me. And the biggest thing is in that moment, that's when I had to realize my triggers. And I had to really come to the terms to like, why was I feeling the way I was feeling? But I realized that the situation that I was in at the time with the person that I was dealing with, it was similar to what I had dealt with before with other men. So it was like a trigger. And then everything that I never took time to heal from with those situations all came like out in that particular moment with that situation. And I really was sitting there like, I'm really letting this trash ass nigga like really about to break me. And he wasn't even my nigga, but he really was about to break me. But there was other things that had happened in the past that at that time I was like, I wasn't even really angry at him. I think it was just from everything else that I dealt with from everybody else. And it just was like that was just the particular person at the time. And that was the trigger. And then it's just everything just came out at that particular time, and I had to like really regroup. And for me, I journal. So I have friends, I have family, but sometimes I just don't like to express myself to my friends or to my family. So I journal, and it would be, and I didn't journal every day. But it would be moments where I would sit, I would put music on and I would write. And some days I would write 4 or 5 pages and just leave everything in the journal. And that's what helped me get through that. And then I'm the type of person that I go back and I read. So like I have a journal that I've had since like ninth grade of high school. And so I've written in that all the way up until probably like my late 20s. So I have another journal now that I journal now in my 30s. And so I always reflect and I always go back and I see where I was and then I look at to where I am now because that's the personal growth for me. Because everybody doesn't know every storm that you go through or everything that you deal with. So with me journaling, it definitely is therapeutic for me. And I always say like I just leave everything in a book. But I like to reflect. I'm a very reflective person. I'm always reflective. And so going back into seeing my growth and how I came out of that dark spot. And now I'm in and now I'm in a much better place, a much better mental space. Um and just, a lot better. Like I really feel healed from a lot of past bullshit. So
Yeah. So before we took the break, talking about forgiveness, I'm gonna read something out of the book that I was talking about earlier, Getting Past Your Past by Susan Wilkinson. Um, says forgiveness is an act of faith. By forgiving another, it is trusting that God is a better justice maker than I am. Sometimes we're not willing to forgive because we feel like it lets the other person off the hook. And that was something that I very much struggle with. So I'm like, man, that person. I think a lot of people feel like in order to forgive somebody, they have to apologize. No, fuck that. Forgiveness, it ain't even about them. It's really about you and not giving the situation power over you. I really had to do a lot of deep cleansing and meditating. Um, because I held on to so much shit that I thought that I was over with. and I thought it wasn't bothering me no more until it was a trigger, and
Let me take one.
it could be something so small, like it's something that reminds it from a similar situation. It was just like, go, I'll go from 0 to 100, and they started thinking that I was just like, I know she got multiple personalities. One time, it was like, Shorty just be tripping. But it's just that I had so many triggers because I had never learned how to address the things in my life that I didn't heal from. And all I can say is, no matter how hard you think you are, in order to grow, it's gonna make you uncomfortable. It's okay to cry.
Yes,
Talk,
black men.
talk to at least one person who you know is. Don't talk to the person that you know is going to tell you that what you want to hear. My brother, wait till I bring him on the show. I mean, I hear my brother come on the show. First of all, he's an asshole, but he's my favorite asshole because he's like a straight shooter. He's gonna tell me exactly what I need to do. You know, I don't want to hear that shit, but he still want to. He don't give a fuck about his delivery sometimes. But sometimes, like, that's what I need in order for me to be like, all right, yeah, just I've been emotional a little bit, and I will be using my brain. Um, definitely therapy. Um, I'm gonna play this clip though. It was on the Red Table Talk about narcissist behavior.
Our RTT family, you asked for it, and here it is. Backed by popular demand as one of our favorites, world's leading expert on narcissism and author of 2 books on the topic, Dr. Rum. You bring the fire every time, and you really hit it on the head. And we have so many people, and even in our personal lives, asking, how the hell do we survive the narcissists in our lives?
Right? Because this could be your mother, your father,
Yeah.
your sister, your adult child, your spouse.
Yeah.
It could be a boss in a job you need to keep.
Right.
It's a topic that is kind of trending, narcissism. And so I think it would be really cool if you could just remind us what the definition is.
You're right. Everybody is using this word right now. So let's start with the core of it and build out. People who are narcissistic are deeply insecure. And we don't see that part of it. Deeply insecure. Because they're so insecure and they don't want to be found out, they cover themselves in all of this grandiosity, entitlement, arrogance. But then there is this lack of empathy, which to me is the most lethal part of this. They don't care. These are folks who are very controlling. Sometimes they're downright paranoid. They think people are out to get them all the time.
I'm talking to quite a few people. Narcissists tend to be very charming.
Oh, yeah.
What they portray with family and friends versus what's happening behind closed doors is so drastically different.
They're building a perfect suit of armor because there's all this insecurity to be protected. So they work on their outsides so nobody will notice the insides.
Right.
Yeah.
And that charm, charisma, confidence are the front game for a person who's narcissistic, to the point where I meet someone charismatic, I'm terrified. I mean, I gotta know.
I'm sorry.
How do we interact with narcissists in our lives when we can't necessarily walk away from them?
People are watching this saying, okay, obviously I know what I should do. I should walk. But we don't have the luxury of just walking away from everyone. And so then people feel like, what do I just need to keep things the way they are? No, you don't. Okay. This is really a game of, number one, and above all else, radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is understanding this is not going to change. Personality styles do not change. Okay. So the only thing you can do is work on your approach to this and your expectations. Those expectations need to be realistic.
Even if it's just like, okay, I'm going through the same cycle, but now I'm protecting myself emotionally
Yes.
because I know what's actually going on.
Yeah,
recognizing what you're dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does one do that?
There's a technique I use. I call it the DEEP technique. You have to remember it. DEEP stands for don't defend, don't engage, don't explain, and don't personalize this. Okay, so you think about how many times you go deeper in with someone. That's why I say deep. Like, no, I never said that, or it didn't happen that way.
So they gave scenarios on here of different people with narcissistic behaviors
Trump.
and how we deal with it. So one of the things that were on there is like how we respond. I think sometimes when you have I'm a very empathetic person, and I can relate to people a lot, and it causes you to be in this mode where when they go into what they're talking about, it makes you feel bad for them and you want to try to help them. But you don't realize that helping them is really just adding on to their behavior. That's why they were talking about people who find it hard to leave partners who are like that because um, they're not physically doing anything to you, but then you get into a mode where you're always defending them. Oh no, they didn't mean it like that. Or one thing I learned from dating one is that no matter how hard they try to change, it's nearly impossible unless they really go to therapy and get help because that behavior it becomes a habit and it's something that's hard to break. Um, anyone who is looking for a psychologist, I have 4 people that you can reach out to. Sarah Phillips can be reached at 410-571-8565. Stephen Kellogg, that's up in Glen Burnie. It's 410-266-6266. As well as Valerie House. It's 410-480-9636. Or Mr. Michael Gombis at 410-269-7789. They are all licensed psychologists. One thing that I didn't necessarily like is that when I was going to therapy, they tried to give you medicine for those symptoms. No, you can just give me weed and you can prescribe that. Just prescribe me some drink. But I don't suggest that people take medication because the medications that they give you now for anxiety or like when you're going through PTSD, it puts you in such a blah state of mind. It's like you're there, but you just be in la la land. It's a different kind of high. And so I don't suggest, especially if you have children that are going to counseling and try to put your child on it, please do your research.
I don't know, y'all. I lost my whole first problem.
That happened with the second live. I didn't want to drag this episode out because I didn't want us to be in here boohoo crying. We actually did it without the tears.
Yeah, we did it.
Whew. Next Sunday on the 2nd, y'all gonna have 2 guests with us. And one of them is the DMV Titus promoter, Polo to God 94. If y'all have never been to Polo to God 94 event, just know it's always lit. If you've never seen me post his events, please make sure that y'all follow or check on my story. I always be post Polo events. He has something going on down there every day of the week. On Saturdays, make sure y'all go down to Southside Market to get my cousin, Sonny M. Hopper. He be having Stamp Spirit. I don't know what Stamp Spirit is. It's definitely, I call it the adult juice. But he will definitely be joining us in the building that day too. We want to have a good conversation about guys and platonic friendships.
Oh, that's good. Because Steve Harvey just, somebody just posted this clip about Steve Harvey saying that men are not friend. They are in the friend zone, or they stay a friend because they really want to sleep with you. So he was basically saying, like, as a married man, he has no female friends because of that. I just want y'all to know Steve Harvey is a trash ass love guru, and he projects all his bullshit and insecurity that he did when he was out here doing raggedy ass shit. He projects all of that on to the men out here today and onto the women because his book don't work. But we'll save that for next week.
Well, oh, like I said, I agree. I ain't never read the book, y'all, but
The book is trash.
definitely some questionable things that Steve Harvey said. But I mean, all in all, he's still funny. You can't take advice from everybody.
He can't tell me how to find no man and keep no man. No, thank you.
You definitely can't take advice from
Because
everybody.
he knew Marjorie before, but I'll be quiet.
Oh, next week is gonna be good.
It's gonna be good.
And then we're gonna do a special segment because we are definitely gonna spend Mother's Day
Yeah.
with our mothers.
Mhm.
So we will not be in the studio on the 9th. I believe that is 25th, May 25th. I'm gonna have one of my friends from high school. She has put out 2 books of poems. And make sure that she comes into the studio as well as she's gonna have you can purchase merchandise. I will be tagging her in the links for everything this week on both Instagram and on YouTube. Um, if y'all have anybody out there who wants to send their music, so that means the unsigned artists, the local artists, if you have music that you would like to be played, send it to me. We do have an official email now, the DMV5 podcast at Gmail. It is spelled exactly how you see it in my Instagram name. Anything that you want to say about whether it's reflection, affirmation?
I would just say that just start the process on whatever it is, definitely on your healing. Um, we have given you the resources. We have shared our stories. I'm so mad I just lost my life. So y'all. So it won't be on my page today. But
I'm sorry, guys, but it's definitely recorded 2 times in the studio. So we're gonna make sure that she get it in.
yeah, so I can put it on my other page. But definitely just start the process, and I do think that us telling our stories is definitely a help for other people. So I really feel like that sometimes you have to take your pain and you turn it into something else. And us, sharing our stories and our healing, I hope that it inspires somebody else to get started. I hope that it inspires you to know that you can move on and you can be better. It's just a part of your story. It's something that you can't erase it because it happened, but just make sure that you start the process. And the starting of the process is to forgive yourself. So that's the biggest thing that I would say. So I would just say start the process. And of course, if y'all need anybody to talk to or anything, definitely always hit me in my DMs. I do talk to people. I do respond to DMs. Just don't come with no ignorant shit because then I gotta block you. My block button is like that because I protect peace and all that. But if y'all definitely feel like you need to listen and you need somebody to talk to, don't video call me because I'm not gonna answer, but definitely DM me and I will lead you to whatever you need. If you need me to pray with you, I got you. Anything like that, just hit me up. My DMs. I answer.
As well as y'all remember last week when we had Pretty Panthers Queens Auto Club in here. They are recruiting. They posted it. They are recruiting. As well as they said their door is always open for conversation. As well as I'm always up for conversation. I do give a disclaimer that I am not a therapist. not even close to one. I've been through a lot of things though, and I'm in a better space of sharing as well as trying to give positive reflection and advice. Um, I feel like for a lot of my friends, I have become that person that they call, whether it's good news, bad news, or they call me asking, did I do something? Should I have reacted differently? So I'm not gonna say I'm always available, but I do always respond. If given any invitation, I'm always here to listen, because I know what it feels like to have nobody to talk to. Um, I also wanted to, if you haven't looked on my page, I posted that Pepco training. They're having the training, and if you work at Pepco, they starting at like $23 an hour. So for the people who've been trying to figure out something to do during this pandemic, the training class, the reach out person is Alana Bowen at Pepco at 202-428-1029. Let her know that you are interested in the registration information and job opportunities. I don't really fuck with electricity, so money definitely sounds good. I'm not getting electrocuted for nobody.
Yeah, it's gonna be enough for me.
Um, my tip for the week is I'm gonna have to just reiterate this from something that I saw on Facebook from corporate. He said if something you plan for ends up not happening, it's probably because something unfavorable was going to happen that you didn't expect. Thank God when things go the way you want and when things go the way you don't, because you never know. I definitely felt that, and that's why I probably reposted like 3 times this week. But you gotta be thankful for everything that you have and don't have, because there's a lot of things that come with a lot of extra stuff that we that are beyond our control. I'm thankful for where I'm at, thankful for where I'm going to end up at, and I hope y'all have a wonderful, blessed week.
Yes, have a blessed week, y'all.
As we wrap it up, and thank everybody for tuning in this week to the DMV's Vibe podcast.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We will be in here next week. Our start time officially is gonna be like, I want to say 6:30, but if y'all see us starting at 6:15, come on, slide on
Yeah.
in.
I'll see you when I go live. So.
Come on, slide on in. And if you don't follow on the YouTube page, it's definitely in my bio. You gotta like, share, and subscribe. We trying to get some extra money and promo. I paid promos up here, y'all.
Make some more cool. Because we teach it together.
But we love y'all. We see y'all next week.
See y'all. I was a pretty good shit. I know the best. I'm the stress, and I know I'm on the back. I was a I think I need to